All right, so let's get rolling here. What are we at? 11?
Yeah.
11.
Episode 11, I think so.
Yep. Episode 11.
Whatever, man. We'll figure it out. We need those subscribers, right? So hit that button.
See you viewing them.
Yeah,
We got a new one today.
We got one today.
Just jumped in there today.
Perfect. Yeah. Hey, at least we know one of the Neuweiler subscribed to this. The other one, I don't care
Right,
about
little
him.
behind it, everything.
Yeah, right. Damn, we were really getting him right away. I thought we had a minute to ease into this.
No.
All right, so listen, let's do our normal start, and this is going to transition perfectly to Charlie. We had a lot of people asking, and we just had our team work out in here and talking to them too about ramping up. Pitchers, arm care, all that stuff. It's time to start ramping up. There are, which is always interesting to me, there's a lot of college camps right now too that's like pitchers, catchers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, some people are really not on the mound yet, and then they want to go there and show out. I'm like, they're not ready for that. Some guys are ready. So one of the biggest things, and we'll get to this with Charlie and ask him a bunch too, and for you a little bit, and then honestly for us being infielders in the off season, hey, what are we doing to improve our arm strength? What are we doing to stay healthy? Things are getting, obviously, they're escalating quickly now, right? All the plyo circuits and the band work, and we shout out the Ghost app all the time. It's really cool to see the phases and our kids really eating it up and loving to add and subtract to it. So, it's something that I always remind people, and we said it the last couple episodes, is you just got to know your body a little bit, right? So JT, were you an in-season lifter? What did you do weight room wise?
Yeah,
you were
always lifted.
Okay.
In season, I was probably 2 to 3 days a week.
Yep.
Out of season, I was 4 to 5.
Right, and then what about arm care? Did you do any of that back then?
No.
Yeah, right.
Just
Long toss, yeah, same
But that's
here.
the one thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if your guys' opinion, but if you're healthy with your arm,
Yep.
would you stop throwing after the season?
I don't. No, I didn't.
I never did either.
Yeah, I didn't. Unfortunately, I was
A
healthy.
lot of kids nowadays are saying,
just shut it down.
I don't throw now till February.
And I'm like, but how did you finish the fall? That felt great.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Stop.
and listen, we talk to Zoller all the time. Jay-Z, one of the things I love about him is he went through the process different ways. So one year he did that. I think when he's 13, 14, he felt healthy, shut it down. Ramping back up for spring, didn't really work out, never really made it through. Mm-hmm. Then he ended the fall 1 year non-healthy, didn't really know what to do, tried to figure out. Now, fortunately for everybody, including him, I mean, this is a D1 stud. He's got himself in this position where you just saw him today throw a flat ground. He has a real routine and everything like that. But again, what are we getting to? Everybody's different. So for you went into a Division I program as a pitcher. Mm-hmm. Where were you? Because you're a little bit younger. So where were you in the process of getting ready and preparing in the offseason?
I just like to use the saying of, stay ready at all times. Always be prepared whenever your chance is there.
Right.
So I never really slowed down. Even transitioning from high school to college, I felt good enough, and I knew I eventually had to throw in that fall.
Right.
To get my name out there and
freshman year,
make a statement out there. So I never even throughout the whole college process of playing 5 years there, but I never stopped. I felt good at all times.
So after fall ball, you would continue to long toss?
Yeah, I would.
In November,
keep going.
December, January.
Yeah, I would keep going. I felt.
Now, how would you do that in a Northeast school? Where would you guys go outside the football field?
You'd go after a lift, possibly go to the football field, go air it out.
Yeah, your body's already kind of hot.
Yeah,
or
just go inside your school gym or wherever your facility is, and just go
to
get
long
blood
toss.
flowing.
All you need is a net.
Yeah,
just
get it going.
We can do it here.
You don't got to throw a 30, 40 pitch bullpen. Just keep the blood flowing. That's what I like.
I mean, listen, it's know your body, it's learn. We just talked to our boys before, use your resources. We're pretty legit resources. I don't want to take that away from us. We all did it in a little bit of a different way, but I mean, look, we are still throwing. You and me, we're getting up there in age, and we're still throwing every day. And we're good.
Thing, the more I throw, the better my arm feels.
Oh, for sure. And
we're doing lessons all week, and our arms never hurt.
Right.
And the reason why they don't hurt is because they're mechanics.
For sure. And
we throw the ball with our back and legs, not our arm.
Yeah, and it's funny. We'll get some of the Rapsodo stuff and some of the metric stuff with Charlie in a little bit, but I just there's something to be said that we're still kicking, we're still going, and we're not trying to be the old heads like Noah and Ryan, let's just keep throwing. I get it. I respect perfect game and having the pitch count. I tell people that come over and play for us, your pitch count is going to be different than mine. It just is. And there's going to be a day. There's going to be a day that you just don't have it in the 80s. And if I start seeing that velo tick down, and that is where I like some of the metrics, right? If that spin rate does kick down a little bit, that's when you can get hurt because now you're trying to over force. And then there's days where, hey man, I could throw twice. So every day is different. Everybody's different.
And the pitchers have to understand pitch count is different based on the stress of the pitch.
100%.
You're second and third. When guys are second and third, it's a lot more stress when you're on the bases, no one on base.
Yeah, and listen, man. Well, like I said, the three of us in a week week or two when we really dive into the metric stuff, and we had some fun that morning. I'm sure you didn't have much fun because I was just going off. But
I enjoyed it.
People talking about Corbin Burns and how his velo went down a little bit this year. I'm like, but where are the levels to this? Like, was it the 7th inning up 8-0 when he just throwing little heavy two seams getting ground balls? Like, was it stress free? Like at 85 pitches? Like, we're just not going to consider that part of the game. But we'll get to that one day.
And that's one thing I see on Long Island a lot is kids are throwing the exact same.
Yep.
Bases loaded, no out, or bases loaded in the 7th inning.
Yep, 100%.
I'm like, the kid
no
comes
feel for
out
the
of
game.
the gate, the first pitch, when I throw as hard as I can. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no,
you got to save those bullets for big spots.
Yeah. Listen, these kids also don't understand, and this will be something fun to talk about with a pro guy. But like, I don't care what anybody says. There's a difference between 3-hitter and 8-hitter guys. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I've had an argument with somebody that legitimately told me the name doesn't matter, and I said, so Mike Trout is the same as Zach Short. Yeah. You're really telling me this? Yeah. Like, well, yeah. I mean, if your stuff is your first pitch, is this percentage. I'm like, yeah, but Mike Trout is Mike Trout. How are we having that conversation? So again, I'm gonna digress because that's not the purpose of all this.
Analytic guy.
Yeah, right. So, but this is good because we have a younger pro guy on here that's kind of bridging the gap between understanding metrics and analytics and all that. So we do have for some of the viewers, he's a little bit better looking than a guy that looked just like him. Let's just call it what it is. But this is Ryan's brother Charlie here. So it's kind of cool. You guys just found out a little bit about him off air.
Yeah.
I went through it with you, but that's a long time ago. So. Well, let's get right to it, man. Welcome, first and foremost.
Thanks.
Great to have you on.
I'm happy to be here.
There it is. So, all right, so let's go, man, because yours is different. Yours is a different story. You did go through the college recruitment process. Mm-hmm. So walk me through that. And honestly, all kidding aside about Rye, walk us through a very unique situation of having a twin brother that is almost as good as you. Sorry. No, but for real. It's super unique.
I wish we had two of me. And you guys have very similar abilities.
So, I mean, we were always together growing up, but fast forward into, like, getting to high school, played together, and then sophomore year is kind of where it kicked in. We started getting some more looks, some people talking to us a little bit. Junior year, we ended up verbally committing to LIU Brooklyn together, and that was, like, we sat down with each other and we were like, it's not like a deal breaker if we don't go together. Like, we would love to, but we're not going to hold each other back. Like, if St. John's wanted me, LIU wanted him, we would have went separate ways. That's how it would have been. But it worked out where we both verbaled. Sophomore year, junior year, signed a letter of intent, and we were all set to go. And then actually we signed to go into LIU with a completely different coaching staff than what Ryan ended up going into with. Yeah. And that was kind of something we were thinking about, like, well, yeah, we like the school, but we like the coaching staff going in there. Mm-hmm. So are we going to stick with this? We ended up doing it. We were like, you know what? Let's do it. Yeah.
You took the chance.
Yeah, took the chance. But then going into senior year was crazy. That was such a quick switch that happened.
Yeah. I remember from the outside looking in, even talking to your pops, and like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had that center fielder too that was starting to bring some eyeballs down, right? He was this ridiculous athlete. He got drafted himself.
Yeah.
Out of high school as well.
Out of high school, we were same grade.
Right. High school.
Monsignor McClancy. Yeah.
Nice.
And what is it, East Elmhurst or something? Yeah, one of those.
That's all that fake Maspeth area.
Yeah,
stuff. Come on now. But McClancy's a good school though. They do.
That was solid.
Just a pitcher there?
No, I mean I played all 4 years. I played the infield. I would hit. I got a little more stubborn my senior year, and like I was like, listen, I don't want to hit when I'm pitching. If I'm not pitching, I'll hit. But I wanted to just stay focused on pitching. I knew that whenever I went somewhere after high school, I was going to be a PO, and like I accepted that. I enjoyed hitting a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. What about LIU though? Were you going to go in as a 2A?
No.
Okay,
no, I was
they knew it right away.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew it since you were 12.
I never even asked So I mean, I was fine with it. Again, I love the PO life since. As long as I can remember,
Yeah, understood. Yeah, too much hitting ground balls, that wasn't your thing.
No, I'd rather just get them.
So, all right, so now, I always do like to reference this, though. So, you had guys potential pro scouts coming down to see your center fielder, and then you're like, yeah, hell yeah, like, I'm going to throw two, and look at me, I'm 88, 991, I got some movement. So, did that also help you potentially? Or could it even been vice versa? Were guys coming to see you throw, and then they saw this crazy athlete out there? Like, you guys help each other a little bit?
So, like, at one point, the other guy had a couple guys coming down, and, my name was on the map, just not as high as I thought it actually was. So he had a couple guys coming down in the fall. I was throwing in the fall ball. And then even through the offseason, I threw for a couple scouts in the offseason.
Okay.
Probably around this time, maybe even February. And I was
Did
like,
you
all
know
right.
this in junior year that this could be something
No,
big?
no, like
Okay.
I mean, I always wanted it, but I
Sure.
never thought it was an actual reality.
So the winter right now where you were ready to throw in front of scouts and stuff like that.
Senior year.
Senior year.
That fall.
That's when it first started
That
to hit you.
fall, end of summer. Did you have that feeling that like, you know what, I should stay ready. I should be keeping my body moving and stuff like that. just in
Yeah,
case
I mean, to be
something
honest, it's a
happens.
long time ago. So I might have taken some time off, which I'll be honest is what I do now.
Right.
Like and that season's completely different.
Right.
So I'll take a couple weeks off when I get home, just from throwing. But at that point, my build up, I went through the off season. I was at a facility over in Queens. I was there Monday through Friday, every day after school.
Sweet.
I played basketball for 3 years, and then senior year, I was like, you know what? I got to start lifting and start like
Right.
taking baseball a little more seriously. And I did the basketball was for conditioning, just staying athletic.
Yeah.
But at a certain
How
point,
old were you then?
Up
what,
to junior year.
17.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
think about that.
17, yeah.
Yep.
So like at that point, I was like, all right, I got to take it a little more serious. I know I'm going to college. I'm going to D1 to
Right.
go do this, so I got to be ready for it.
It's crazy how late you were
Yeah.
thinking that.
Yeah,
So it's because some people think
I
their
mean,
kid
yeah, you
needs
got
to be
you got
thinking
guys
that
like
Thank you,
15.
at 6 years
Yeah.
old.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you just said that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think what you're trying to get at is like, yo, guys, that you could play multiple sports, and then
Yeah.
yes, maybe when you get to a point where pro scouts are coming to watch you throw, yeah, it would have been really tough for you to get off the basketball court and then go perform on a mound.
100%.
So I get it then, but yeah, 17 years old, not
But
11
playing
years old.
basketball
I'm
your whole life helped
yeah.
you,
I mean,
right? Yeah.
I preach it too. I preach it to all my guys. I'll have parents come and ask, you know,
Athletes.
should he just stay with baseball? Should he like, go play any other sport he wants? Play
Sport.
soccer,
It's your
football.
life.
And that's what
Basketball,
separates us
anything.
from a lot of organizations, because a lot of organizations don't let their kids play other sports.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? They're
It's
actually
wild.
like, people are saying that to me.
Yeah.
People come in here and they're like, oh, we left there because the coach said I can't play football. So what do you mean?
Yeah, that's
You're in 9th grade, 10th grade,
Yeah.
you're a big, strong kid. And like, you know, we
The
talk about
best
it.
athletes in the world have played multiple sports.
Yes.
Right?
110%.
Yep.
You know, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look,
So
right
many-
now, Mookie Betts is probably the best athlete in the world,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
dunking
He
a
could-
basketball.
he
He's
could
bowling
bowl.
300s.
Yeah, he could bowl.
It's just
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
yeah, he's doing everything, man. He's doing
Steph Curry
everything.
can play golf really well.
Yep.
There's other guys.
Yep. So,
Everything.
all right. So now, all right. This is another part of this. So now, okay, you're throwing for pro scouts in the off season. You're going into the spring. Now you got to be saying to yourself like, yo, let's go. Like, I got a shot of not even seeing college. Like, was that like kind of on there yet?
Not yet.
Really?
I'm so straight up. Not yet. Not until like late April hit.
Okay.
Wow.
So the spring season already started early March.
Right.
We're still throwing. We had more and more guys coming around, filling out like the sheets and everything.
Sure.
But I'm like, okay, like I would talk to people and like, it's just one of those like get your information type
Right.
of thing. I'm like, okay, cool. It's still cool, but whatever. Not until the end of April, I ended up having an advisor at that time.
Okay.
And May rolled around, and then it was late May. Draft was coming up in like 2.5, 3
Right.
weeks, whatever it was, and he's like, "Oh, like, we got some people calling. They have interest. Like, you might not end up going to school. Are you okay with that?"
Right.
That was a big thing. Like,
Wow.
that's a huge
Hearing
decision.
that must
You
have
know,
been
It's a big
wild.
conversation
yeah. I mean,
with your family.
18, I gotta make a decision of if I'm going to school or not right away. You know, if I'm
Yeah,
gonna
with brothers.
turn down
And
X
it's
amount
a-
of dollars.
It's a lot
Right.
harder than people think making that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is, and I
Yeah.
was excited to hear this part of it because, like, as you get a little bit older, you start to realize, like, again, what goes into it. To not have the college experience, and you are going from 17 and a half, 18 years old, directly to like legit grown up. Like
Yeah.
you're on your own, like and not
And
on
the
your own, like in a
minor
dorm
league
room,
life
right?
is
With
tough.
people with families, people that are trying to make it. So I always respect the people like you that made that decision, and I understand, and you'll get to it, I'm sure.
Takes guts.
What forced you to go that route, other than getting away from your brother for a little bit, but and also for like your pops to understand that process a little bit. Like this is so not. I'm sure this wasn't really on the back of his mind, and even if it was, and he's like, yo, I think these kids have it, which I know he always did. But then all of a sudden to like understand how to get an advisor, understand how to have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
So all right, so cool. My bad. So you have your advisor. You're waiting for the draft. Now, what's that process like going into the draft?
It was pretty nerve wracking.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I
What were you
don't.
doing all those every
To be honest,
hour,
it's
every
so
day?
hard to like remember like the days leading because it was
Yeah.
kind of just blacked out.
Yeah.
Big watch party at Empire State Building or something.
Did you sleep the night before?
I did. I woke up at like 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I don't know I went day 2. The day 2 draft started at I don't know like 11 o'clock in the morning or something. They
Yeah.
start calling names out. And I'm sitting there, and it's the middle of summer, and I'm just drenched in my house, sweating. I'm so nervous. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
My agents text me back and forth, advisor, whatever. He's my agent now, but
Yeah.
text me back and forth like, hey, the Royals want you, the Blue Jays want you. They want to give you this, they want to give you that. You know, whoever ends up having the first pick in that round, you're going in this round. Whoever has the first pick, that's where you're going. You got to be either yes or no. You got to let me know right now before they call you.
What is that conversation? What is like hearing that, man?
I was just like sitting there. I was like,
I had it though. I had it. Yeah, I had it the bad way. The only conversation I had, it was the last day, and I had to work out with the Mariners and the Pirates, and the Mariners guy called me and he's like, "Hey," so I knew that when the workout I went to, there was only 6 of us. That's like there's 6 guys they wanted for the back end of the draft, just some depth in the infield. I was like, it's you and the one guy that are left, and then I saw his name called like 6 minutes later. I'm like, well, there goes that. So I had that like really big letdown because I did have that little phone call where I was like, whoa, like this is a real thing that could happen, and then no, it didn't. So it's really cool to have you have an opportunity to get that.
Yeah.
So then what do you do at that moment? You talk to your parents right away?
Well, we already made a decision before that day. We had to, and it was
They wouldn't have picked you.
yeah, like or like we weren't gonna like have them waste a
Yeah,
pick.
that's the thing. If you would have told them, I'm going to college,
Yeah.
they don't waste a pick on you.
No, sometimes they honestly
Call your
they
name
will
out
still
later.
call you up later
Yeah.
to make sure see. I don't know if maybe he
Yeah.
changed his mind.
Yeah.
But
Or
no,
like
we
a
made it
favor.
clear that like we were gonna go. Like I was gonna say yes if the money was right.
Right.
Yeah.
It was gonna be enough money to say okay, yeah, like we can put school on a back burner for a little bit or continue as I get as I play.
Yeah.
And it just worked out that we got what we were like what we wanted. I got slot.
So
And
it's the
that was
Royals.
The Royals, yeah, the
Fifth
Royals.
round?
Fifth round.
Fifth
First
round.
pick in the 5th.
No, it was a 150. I was 150 overall. It was.
Who was,
Uh,
do you know who the first round pick for the Royals was? Anyone?
Yeah, Nick
famous?
Prado.
Wow.
Oh,
My
wow.
buddy,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Sick.
Big leaguer.
Yeah.
You
So
get to hang out with a couple of those guys.
Oh, we were boys.
What was the
That's
process right after you got drafted? Where did you guys get sent down anywhere?
I was about to ask you, how quickly does that go?
So, it went a lot quicker for me than it does for some other guys, and I don't know. It was just kind of how it played out. I was expecting a week at home. I got drafted on a Tuesday. I was hoping like that next Monday I could fly out. I had to go to
Right.
Arizona.
Right.
Yeah.
I never. The only time I ever left the state without
To
my
play.
parents was Myrtle Beach for high school, and I had a whole bunch of buddies that I knew.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, let alone taking a 6-hour flight across the country.
Yeah.
Nobody I know. I'm 18.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Got to go into a hotel. Like,
Did you even know what you're packing? Just
No.
like baseball pants?
No,
Like, do I even need that?
no, I just
You bring your belt?
yeah. I packed a whole bunch
Some
of
kids don't bring
polos.
their
I
belt.
knew I had to get a haircut. I had to shave. I had to pack a bunch of polos. That's why we had the
Wow.
river field,
Okay.
and that was it. So
You said what day you got out of there? What day?
it was a Friday or something.
Three
3
days
days
later,
later.
yeah.
Yeah. I had to go say goodbye to my family, and like this was June 13th, and the season wasn't gonna end until September, like almost September 13th, 15th.
And you're playing
maybe.
every day.
No, so at that time it was 4 days on, 1 day off in the
Okay.
AZL, the rookie ball.
No,
So not terrible, but it was still just like a big change. I mean,
Yeah.
6-hour flight going over there by yourself. It's 125 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you're starting your day out at 2 o'clock. You're going till 11, 12 o'clock. And then you go back to the hotel, you reset, do the same thing all over again.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you got out there, this is just kind of a fun side note. Was Petey out there yet? Where was Petey? Didn't you?
Yeah, Pete was out there.
So you did have that one like kind of familiar name.
Yeah, I had a familiar face, which was nice.
What year was this?
This was 2017.
Wow.
And Petey had already been done with the Dodgers, done with the Ducks.
Yeah, he had
moved out to
just got. I
Arizona.
think he had just gotten out there.
Yeah,
a
like
year
that's
or
what I'm
two
saying. Like
prior,
I almost feel like I remember like texting you guys in a group and whatever, and then realizing like, yo, be careful going out with Petey like that because he can have some fun. But no, I remember that like very vividly because I was like, this is pretty cool because Petey just did this to a bigger extent. Like
Yeah.
he did the Dodgers thing. He went, then he came back home, played for the Ducks, and then said, I'm going back to Arizona to live. So I was happy that you could at least be able to connect with him a little bit and just
Yeah.
know that somebody's done it before.
Yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice to have a familiar face out there besides just like the guys I started making buddies with.
Right.
Yeah.
From the
But I'm sure
squad.
that's its own frat house anyway.
Yeah.
Did they put you in a hotel or where?
Yeah,
were you
we
staying?
got put in a Comfort Inn.
Yeah, really?
Now every night you're at the like
Just comfort in it is.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
how long? Couple months.
A couple months.
Yeah.
So like that made it even more Groundhog Day was
Continental breakfast every day.
just. Well, I mean, yeah, you got to go get breakfast, and we had 3 meals a day at the field.
That's nice.
We'd show up, you get breakfast, and you have like a pregame, and then you have dinner,
Okay.
made by a chef and everything, which is
Right.
awesome. But just
It's a grind.
it is a grind.
Yeah,
110% was a grind.
Right.
I remember playing, my after my freshman year of college, just like upstate in Boonville, New York. Like
Yeah,
6
I
hours,
played there.
6 hours north from here.
250-foot fence, right?
Yeah. But just like the
Confidence
lifestyle,
boost.
just
Yeah.
like just straight baseball.
Yep.
It's everything that we want, but it's a lifestyle, man. You gotta.
Yeah.
It's the wake
And
up, getting the food.
and the different thing about that is the night games.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all night.
It's a
games.
lot harder to play night games
Oh, for
'cause
sure.
you're just sitting around all day.
All day
day.
long. Yeah,
Like
for sure.
college, you play at noon.
Yep.
You're done by 4.
It's a really good point. Like it's something
Yeah.
people don't talk about. It's
And
about-
you're thinking about the game
Yeah.
all day.
And you also have like so many people that they'll talk about their midday nap or something along
Yeah.
those lines. Probably pitchers go out and golf all the time. That's why you
I mean,
guys
yeah,
are-
they would go
Yeah.
golfing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. There was a lot of times where me and a couple of other buddies we'd stay up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
just to force yourself to sleep in.
Yeah, sleep till 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Wake up, and
So
then
you
go to
don't
the
think
field at
about
1.
it as much.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
also it wasn't. We were in Surprise, Arizona. Not much to do around there.
Right.
So instead of just sitting in a hotel room all day, we'd rather just sleep during the day and go right to the
Yeah.
field.
It's crazy. It's crazy because it seems like it's a dream for everybody, and I'm sure it is and was. It just, but then all of a sudden, like when the reality sets in, it's like, well, okay, how do I recreate this to having some fun and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
People don't realize, man. They really don't.
College is hard, but college is way easier than that.
Oh, way easier. It really
Yeah.
is. Yep. Yeah. People like really stress. Like that's why I say I respect you for doing it. Now it sounds so funny coming from 3 college guys that wanted to get to where you were, and I still like okay. I respect you for actually taking that jump and doing it.
Yeah.
It's just different. And like for everyone watching too, like LIU, it's a really good school. But this is a dude that commits to LIU, signs to LIU, and gets drafted in the 5th round before he even goes. So some of these people that like think that LIU might be below them or they want to go here. Dude,
Did you have any other offers?
I had 2 D2 schools that
See,
wanted
that's
me.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
How
People-
does a guy in the 5th round not get offered from Florida?
And yet, this is what
Yeah.
I'm trying. And nobody wants to listen to everybody. Like
Right.
they're
They
gonna
got
get
too early a little bit. Right?
yeah, but
They got-
yes,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
And that's how good the pro scouts are.
Right,
They
right.
can project.
Yeah, man. And honestly, and you kind of hit the ground running a little bit. Like you were competitive with the Royals like right away.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of your numbers. It's not like your numbers like consistently went down because you had a really rough start. You were pretty consistently good since you got there.
Yeah, I mean, my first year of rookie ball, I ended up winning the pitcher of the year
Right.
for the
What
Royals.
would you say the difference from stepping on a high school mound into a pro level? This might
Yeah.
go crazy, but what's
I
one
mean-
major thing that like the presence of the guy or the strike zone or the atmosphere?
I mean, honestly, I'd say the atmosphere against the hitters because at least when you're in high school, even being like junior, senior year, like you're the top dog there. Like you're
Right.
the oldest guy. You're the biggest fish in the pond. You go over there, and even if you're 19, 20-year-old, you might be playing against big league guys that are rehabbing during the summer.
Right.
You're playing against Latin guys from all over the place.
That you just assume are going to be big leaguers because what
Yeah.
else
any
do you know?
any guys you face like that? Like
Yeah, did you face
when
any
you were
big
like that
leaguers?
first year and you're like, holy cow! Like 3 years later, they're Toronto.
I played with one kid. His name's Esturi Ruiz. He's with the,
Yeah, the
A's
A's.
now.
He's nasty.
He's a
Yeah.
stud.
Yeah.
He was with me that year in rookie ball.
Wow.
Okay. And to see him to get there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just
I
like-
mean,
Anyone
I
you
played
faced-
against
anyone you faced that made it to that level.
not rookie ball that I can remember, but I mean I played against Elly Cruz when he was
Right.
with the
Wow.
Reds and
Remember you saying that.
A-ball and a couple
you,
other guys.
You could see
Just-
those guys immediately. They're different.
I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
like, do you guys like get into the bullpen? You're like, go, what the hell is that guy?
Yeah,
doing,
I
man?
mean, that's like the metrics thing comes into play. And
Right.
You all get your hitters charts to look at when you're pitching, and you're like, all right, it says he can't hit a curveball or try to throw a curveball,
Let's
and then
find
he
out
hits
my-
curveballs.
Right.
And it's like I don't know what else to do with this guy. Well, there's
That's the-
plenty of
And
times.
that's the crazy
that
thing.
happened.
There's still a big gap, I bet,
Yeah,
from a rookie level guy or a double A guy to
Yeah.
a big leaguer, which is
yeah,
Do
100%.
you remember your outcome with Elly Cruz?
No, I don't.
Good for you.
I don't know if it
That's
ended
YouTube.
bad.
Yeah, that sounds like you
there's
just
a
blacked out.
there's a stat sheet somewhere
Right,
out there. So
right.
yeah.
I can't get over. It's just crazy to me to go. You're on the McClancy mound, and now you're on a pro mound.
Arizona.
A few weeks later, bro.
Yeah.
A few weeks later. Like again, that's something we took for granted. Think about it.
Yeah.
We're signed. Like first we verbal or whatever. Then we sign. Then we have a year to just be a big dog as a senior in high school. Then you have a summer where like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Then you get the fall ball experience of easing yourself in. You have a couple fall ball games.
Yep.
You have seniors that are genuinely there. And this is a question I'm gonna have for you too. But you have seniors that are genuinely there to try to win their last year, try to get themselves drafted, or bring on that culture. So you have so many opportunities. It's a legit ladder.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's still crazy ladder to climb. You don't have that ladder, bro.
No,
You
you're right.
legitimately got to go from from here to here.
Yeah.
Now what is that rookie ball So what I'm looking for, like culture,
Yeah,
like because you have to have, there's got to be a lot of selfish dudes that like are just like almost like I don't really care about you because I'm trying to move up the ladder. Like, what is that culture like? Did you have a lot of like-minded guys? Like, were you fortunate to have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say one thing. Listen, I was only with the Royals. I was with the Royals almost my whole
Right.
career. So, I guess the best thing I would say is I was fortunate enough where they genuinely, when they would draft guys, they would look at what your character was.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Right.
So
That's probably George Brett.
yeah, it's
lot.
all those guys that
Yeah.
played huge factors into that.
Okay.
And that was one thing they always preached was just, what kind of man are you? Not really kind of baseball player are you? What kind of man are you? But that year in rookie ball, all the guys I was with were close to my age, if not a little older. But we were all dudes. Like we were
Cool.
all
That's awesome.
cool, hanging out all the time. Like
Is
Not-
that unique though, or is that you think that's a norm? I guess you really don't know much.
I really don't know,
Right.
but
I would say that's more uncommon.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it move fast a little bit? Just like because you were young, you probably weren't thinking too much of like
Yeah.
the outside factors. You just kind of hit the ground like, all right, I'm playing here to play baseball.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it just happened, right?
yeah, it just happened. It just happened.
All right, and listen, baseball's your whole life. You've been doing it. So
Yeah.
Were you
when
playing
it's-
summer baseball? Let me backtrack. Were you planning on playing if you were not getting drafted to go play summer baseball to go get ready for LIU?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't
Whenever
get
you
to
had
that
that
point of
conversation.
thinking.
What did
Like,
Rye do? Did he play with us? What did he do his that year going into college?
That's a great question. Rye, what did you do?
Yeah,
what did
damn.
you do? Comment down below.
I mean, unbelievable. The guy was on here. And he
Subscribe first.
The guy-
But,
yeah,
Yeah.
hit the subscribe button first. I
But I'm trying to say,
actually
like-
don't remember. I mean, think
Yeah.
about it. That's
I think that would be a fun conversation.
10 years, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Nine,
If
seven,
he was your
9
coach,
years
if
ago,
Evan was
whatever
your
it was.
coach, you'd be like, yo, Ev, like I'm out this summer.
Right.
I'm in
Yeah.
Arizona.
No, I remember. Listen, I remember the process of it, but from me on the outside looking in and talking to Big Rich, it was way different for me. Like I was just rooting for you. Like there was nothing else. Like you know what I'm saying. Like I didn't really know what your plans were going to be and all that, but. No, it's really cool. It's just so cool, and it's just different, right? Like we try to continue.
Yeah, it's
on
so
the-
different. Such a different path.
Yeah, and it's like overwhelming. I have so many like little like fanboy questions to even ask. Like you get around pro guys, you want to know kind of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
fortunately for us, we've been around a ton of guys like that. But everyone's got stories. Everyone's got dudes. So
What would you do before starts? Like
that's
you
what I was
sat
about
down
to
with
get
the
to.
pitching
yeah.
coach. You came up with a game plan based on
Yeah.
the hitter's tendencies.
For the past 7-8 years of my career, I've had pretty much the same exact routine the day before I
Yeah, that's
start.
crazy.
Okay.
So it'd always be meeting with your pitching coach and your catcher. Look at the hitting charts and everything. Kind of get a game plan. I would take the hitting chart. They would pass them out, and it was a couple years after I was in. They started. Jeff Suppan was a big guy.
Sure.
He's got binders this big from every single game that he ever pitched in a big league.
I love that.
Yeah.
Charted everything that he did. Always wrote notes on his performance and everything. So they started trying to incorporate that with us, and I didn't mind it. And it helped. Like sometimes it got a little repetitive, but it helped.
Yeah.
So like I would take that notebook and like pre-start, I would just jot down a lineup of the starting guys that day, and like kind of write like a quick game plan of like how I would approach them.
Okay.
The first AB.
Right.
And then you go off that for the second, third, maybe even fourth AB if you get later
Right.
into the game.
And I love this because we just had our guys do it
Yeah.
just for their bullpens right
the
now.
charting, yeah.
And like I see that, like at first, listen, as a coach, especially a younger coach, like we're like, are they gonna like just be like, what the heck is
Go
this?
through the motions.
Probably.
Yeah, but I'm like, hey, I'm like,
you
you know
buy
what?
in, and I think you could really get a good amount of information from it and benefit yourself.
And I think from seeing, especially tonight, I think when they see that dude that's up to AAA, and we'll get to that in a second. We have, again, Jake Frere is a Division I guy, and he brings over a lot of his. And this is what you do as pitchers: you chart. You need to have feedback, and you need some of that, like look in your mirror
yeah,
feedback.
I mean, you have so many days off as a pitcher. So
Right.
You throw 1 day a week, pretty much as a starter.
Right.
And then the other days you're analyzing your outing and
Right.
you're moving on to the future of how are you going to get better and how are you going to attack hitters in ways that are get.
But this is
get them out.
this is kind of funny to me because like I'm just still trying to wrap my head around just being on the mound at McClancy and then getting all this information about trying to get Elly de la Cruz out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is that like one of the biggest changes for you? Because I assume, I mean, my high school was definitely not like this, but like I kind of knew who we were playing against. Like I would hear like, hey, this pitcher throws hard, and that's like
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
get.
that was
Like
it.
you're just on the mound saying these dudes can't hit me.
Yeah.
But then you get there and you're like, I got to find a way to make sure they don't hit me. Like, was that a huge change for you? Like having all these charts, seeing a Jeff Suppan who had a good big league career and what he put in to every pitch. And I remember watching Jeff Suppan throw. He wasn't exactly Noah Syndergaard in his prime where he had all this elite stuff, but he got outs for a long time. And now I understand way more because I would watch games and be like, I think I could hit this dude. And then you realize, no, he's going to get enough on me to find a way to miss my barrel.
Yeah.
So was it like really like crazy for you to go almost from 0 to 100 when it came to that?
Yeah, I mean, I try to just simplify it as much as I could.
Sure.
Because, again, up until COVID, or even slightly past COVID, I was always one of the younger guys in a team.
Right.
And so many other guys, they were through college. Like, they had 2 years, 3 years of college. So they had a little bit more advancement on there.
Right.
And, like, they would dive deeper on there a little bit more and understand it. And for me, like, it was hard for me to try to wrap my head around a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I would try to just simplify it and not get too deep into it to where it would become a negative thing
You
for
probably
me.
Right.
didn't know at the time that you're 18-year-old, kid just out of high school. But there's probably a whole binder of scouting report on, how to go about you.
I was
Yeah,
going to say,
yeah.
yeah.
It's kinda crazy
Oh,
stuff.
But you're also still learning yourself.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
And that's the thing. Where are they getting that info from?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
was someone getting a chart of you at McClancy?
They would-
Probably a scout.
Possibly.
Yeah.
They would do that. Like, they would have info going into 2018, my first year. They would have info from 2017 for the 12 innings that I
Yeah.
pitched or whatever
So
it was.
Right.
Even though it's small, but they
Small,
still have something on you,
small
like
sample
what your
size, but they would still try to
percentage
use it.
of what pitches are thrown in certain counts.
So funny. It brings up a funny story. When I was on the bus going home from Hartford, a kid I played Titans with texted me, said, let's exchange scouting reports.
That's funny.
I never did.
Yeah.
He was like, Yeah.
You know Gillard, right? Yeah. So we played Hofstra one year, and he actually, I think he had a good shot off me one time. I was a freshman, he was a senior, but then I saw him at the B1 holiday party, and we were just like shooting it and just like talking about the game and whatever. He's like, yeah, I basically knew what you were throwing.
Right.
Had a whole report on you. I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck? I was like, they have that on me. I was
oh, yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
remember seeing arm side run, low E's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Every
he was like,
freaking kid.
he's
Yeah.
like, I knew you were gonna go curveball that this specific count or this.
Well, I will tell you what.
Yeah.
Me and BG went. We had a lot of nights where we would go through all that and talk about approach. So he was probably a step above that anyway. And I just said, if you're gonna face ski, just sit something hanging, you'll be all right.
Now,
But
if what would you do more? Would you go with your strength or would you attack
Great
the hitter's
question.
weakness based on the scouting report?
I mean, for the most part, I would go with my strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which most of the time, for the most part, was my off speed.
Okay.
So
What was
you're
your
breaking-
put away pitch?
Oh, dude.
it was my curveball.
yeah,
Curveball, yeah.
different.
So
Yeah.
Different.
it's changed a little bit now. It's just going through my career, some things have tweaked for the better or for worse, whatever.
Technology. Is that the route? You kind of go down a little bit now? I'm sure when you're 17, 18 years old, you're just throwing the curveball for the curveball.
Yeah,
For a
yeah,
strike,
yeah.
for a ball, but now you're, probably playing with a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as you
Technology.
progress, like you start going into usages, percentages, counts, whatever is going on. So you start doing some research, and you get the coordinators to kind of sit down with you and see what their approach is for you, and what they're looking for, then kind of chat with you a little bit and see what's going on.
And then you get to know now you know yourself. 'Cause
Yeah, you kind of start learning like what kind of pitcher you are, and that was the other big thing with Suppan, and then even one of our other pitching coordinators, Jason Simontachi. His question always was, well, what kind of pitcher are you?
Sure.
And if you stuttered, or if you're like, well, I think,
What
Yeah,
kind
you're-
of over
well,
the
it's like-
categories? What would people say?
I mean, you got to say, you're a
Power,
fastball up in the zone guy.
finesse.
Yeah, you're a power guy. You're an off-speed guy. You're a location guy.
Yeah.
So
Now, one of the things I want to circle back to real quick too that you mentioned, and I talked to my catchers a lot about this, and again, I love this kind of stuff. This is why
Yeah.
I love this podcast even more as we progress and learn, because it's actually making me kind of reassuring of what my vision is for our teams and everything like that, because I take a lot of pride in my catchers having conversations, and again, my catchers now are going to get their bullpen report today. So the bullpen report for the four guys, even though they were touch and feel stuff, they're going to get the report, and they're going to say, okay, wow, look at that. On a day that he was a little bit off, that arm side run was out of control. So he was missing a lot there. So now that he knows in the heat of a moment in the second inning of a game with his college scouts there, and he's going arm side run again, he can call time, go out there and be like, hey, this is what happens. We got to go breaking ball right now. Like, we can change all of that. So how important is that relationship with your catchers? You said you have a meeting with your catcher and pitching guy before every start.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming the minor leagues, you do go through different catchers throughout, all that.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, right? Every catcher, I assume, is locked in, want to know more about you kind of
Right.
thing.
The battery aspect is huge.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
These catchers, they think it's their pop time, they think it's their blocking, and don't get me wrong, that's super important. But man,
You watch high-level catchers; they tell the pitcher what adjustment to make.
Yeah.
Francisco,
A lot of
the
times.
Francisco Alvarez thing is really cool for me because if you guys remember, like when Verlander and Scherzer, two absolute first ballot Hall of Famers, were walking out the door when the Mets were kind of getting rid of them. Both of them went out of their way to talk about this 21-year-old catcher who, like, from a fan's perspective, he's got some flair, he's got some pop, he throws the ball well, but like you're not sure. They both went out of their way to be like, yo, no, that
Yeah, I
guy's
remember
real.
that.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like taken back. That's when I was all in on that kid. And again, they didn't talk about pop time throwing people out.
No.
They just trusted what he was putting down. They trusted that they threw the ball in the right spot. He was going to receive it the right way. So that comfort level with a catcher. But it's got to be tough in the minors because I mean, how many catches do you think you've been through in a couple years?
A lot.
Right?
12,
Yeah,
14.
I would have guessed more to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah.
And that's still a big number. So just one of those hurdles you got to clear though. That's not, and of course never using names, but my guess is arbitrarily half of them you loved and were like, yo, I wish I could pitch him more, and the other
Yeah.
half you're like, yo.
And I bet some there was a language barrier too.
Yeah, a bit for sure. Like with the the Latin American guys,
Yeah.
but also like I give a lot of props to them because for the most part, like guys, especially like the catchers or even like the middle infielder guys, the Royals were always pushing on English classes and made them take English
Right,
classes
cool.
and get to a certain point in their education system that they would graduate. Some guys graduate a high school diploma.
Yeah.
Some guys ended up
Right.
graduating 5th grade English, but they would get them to a point enough to where they can communicate with
Sure.
us, and they would offer the same thing for us with Spanish classes.
Right.
But the language barrier played a big part. But at the same time, like it's a game of baseball,
Sure.
and there's always universal words and
Right.
actions that can
Wrap
go
it
on
up,
to like
yeah.
make you learn just super quick on the fly.
Right.
That's the big thing. That's the most important thing for me with a catcher. Yeah, you always want to be on the same page, but if you have a brand new catcher in for that game, and maybe he's catching your pregame bullpen before you go in, he can kind of learn a little bit. But it's how fast in game can he realize the
Right.
mistakes you're making,
Right.
reading the hitters right away for you, what kind of patterns you want to start throwing in,
Right.
but not staying consistent throughout the
And
game
that's
with it.
huge. Reading the hitters.
Yeah.
It's huge these days, man.
Well, it's
We're
with,
going through it.
well, it's like you said, dude, right? Your first at bat, it's like almost a scripted plays in football, right? They always some of the first 15 plays are scripted, then you kind of
Yeah.
read and react.
Yeah.
Right.
It's similar to you, right? Your first time through the order, you have a plan that you're committed to. Hopefully, the catcher understands your plan, and then it's like that unspoken bond of like, hey, like I think this is working a little bit more than usual today. This isn't working as much. That guy is absolutely selling out on fastball stuff, even though something might, because again, these hitters, they know that you're reading up on them. So in the back of their minds, they're saying, hey, this guy's got a little bit of a good two-seamer. Or again, his curveball is his number one pitch. I struggle with curveballs. I'm going to sit curveball.
Yeah.
And as a catcher's got to read that. They got to see
Yeah.
that he's getting his foot down at a different
Yeah,
time and
yeah.
looking for that. So
Looking at his stance where
I'm obsessed with that cat and mouse game,
And
and
that's
it's
where
so fun
those
talking
shorts
about
come
it.
in play
Right.
because if you know your pitcher has arm side run, that kid's stepping over. It's a
Shit,
righty.
100%.
Now you throw that two seam in, you have a little ground ball
you
to
have to
third.
know your
Yep.
catcher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially
Catching is the
Yep.
most important
Yeah.
on the field.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yep. No, for sure. No, it's it's fun picking your brain and hearing that kind of stuff. So let's just fast forward a little bit. Let's start trying to wrap it up a little here because we could do this all
Yeah.
night. So hold on. No, I gotta call it out because that little cup of coffee in AAA. What happened there, man? But in reality, what you got? So the Royals finally said, okay, like it's either going to be a full commitment or not. So they said it's time to move on, which happens.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing. You're still consistent, still pretty good. If I remember correctly, did you like land back here and then immediately had to go back for Minnesota? How'd that work?
Yeah, so I was home for 5 days.
Right.
I was home. This was at spring training though. This wasn't in
Right.
the season. But spring training, I went to spring training with the Royals. The business happens. It got released. I came home and agent was doing his job right away, calling people. Twins reached out 5 days later. I got flown out to Florida.
Right. So
Last week of spring
whole
training,
different thing, right?
completely different side of the country.
Right.
What I'm used to, everything. Went there for the last week of spring training, and at this point, like, they're like, oh, we'll keep him back a little bit, kind of build him up, because
Yeah.
I only got like 2 lives.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
I had 2 lives out in Arizona. I was built up to like 2-3 innings.
how'd you do?
I did all right. Like, it wasn't the lives there kind of just to get reps.
Sure.
They're not really looking at that too much. Once you
Right.
get into games, then it's a little bit more important. But I got there. I threw a bullpen the same day I landed.
Wow.
And then 2 days later, I threw a live. And I was like, all right, I'm chilling. The rosters came out, the flight list. And I was like, you know what, let me go look. I knew I played against the Twins org before. I was like, let me see if I know anybody that's still here. I'll chat up with them, and I look, I'm scrolling, I see my name on the flight list for the day after. I'm like, all right, sweet, I'm out
Let's
of here.
roll.
Yeah, so then I went right to full season again.
And that was, but at what level though?
That was high A again.
That was high A, and then correct me if I'm wrong. You saw AAA with the Twins?
No, with the
Royals.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Double A and Triple A with the Royals.
What year were you AAA?
23.
What's the biggest difference?
No,
That's-
22.
Yeah.
22.
What was the biggest difference for you? Did you get to AAA and say, "Oh wow, like I'm actually almost there"? Like does that set in a little bit? Or
I mean, yeah, like once I kind of get out of my mind about how my results were.
sure.
But
How was it going through with COVID though? Because didn't they cut a lot of minor leaguers and stuff like that?
yeah, COVID was kind of crazy. It was great. We still got paid the whole time, which a lot of other teams didn't do.
Okay.
That helped us a lot because we couldn't do, like, I couldn't come in here and do lessons. Like,
Right.
it was tough.
Yeah.
So, but just knowing the fact that a whole bunch of, like, 40, 80 jobs were getting
Yeah.
cut out, and that's 2 full teams at least.
Yeah.
Were you concerned for yours at the time?
No, like, not really. I mean, I was pretty confident with the past 2 years I had.
Sure.
And I was only in there 2.5 years.
Yeah, you were still really
still young.
Yeah.
You were
Um,
20, right? 21.
I was turning 21 during
Right.
COVID. Yeah.
Wow.
But again, like I was pretty confident with the years I had prior, especially the season that I just finished. But it was crazy. I mean, I went to spring training normally, reported early as a starter, and we were sitting there going through everything. We got called in for a meeting saying, hey, like, something going on. Airports are getting shut down.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, I'm stuck in Arizona now.
Right.
And we all went back to the hotel. They put us in quarantine. And for 3 days, the facility was shut down. So we were in a hotel, all of us, hanging out. Like, they had food trucks come, so they wanted us to leave. We were
Right.
hanging out at the pool. All of our buddies are getting texts from different orgs, hey, we're going home.
Wow.
And we're like, well, we're staying here.
At a
Like, they
hotel.
told us we're staying here. They want to keep us, like, safe, whatever. The next day we wake up, we're all down hanging out by the pool. We all get a mass email, hey,
Like-
report to the field at 2:00 today. We have a meeting.
Oh,
We went
okay.
there. Next thing you know, they're like, all right, we got to send you guys home.
That's
Wow.
wild.
And then went home, and that was the toughest part, was coming back to like Queens. Like I do it enough in the off season to where like you're limited with space and facilities and stuff like that, but then coming back here and having to throw bullpens
And having to try to stay ready because you don't know when you're going
yeah,
back.
staying ready,
Wow.
like doing workouts in my yard. Like we built a squat rack, like ordering bands, like weighted bands off Amazon.
Well, this is where it's
keep
cool
up
to
with
have
me.
Rod though, because he's a Division I player, so he's
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
trying to keep himself together.
Yeah,
too,
so like I had at least another guy to
Right.
help me like go long toss at the park and everything,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it was still nuts. Like thinking like in the middle of June, oh, I should be in
Right.
Kentucky, Arkansas, or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Like I should be somewhere, not
chasing a
in New
dream
York.
right now. Yeah,
So
crazy.
Wild.
This is sick.
I had one more thing to
Yeah,
say.
me too.
I lost my train of thought though.
I have one. If you were 16 years old as a pitcher, what would you do now? Differently or the same? Or any advice to them?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have changed anything. I don't think I would have changed
Yeah.
anything. I always took baseball seriously. I played basketball again. Like
Yeah.
that helped me. I think just stay athletic and be in shape. I don't know. I don't think I would have changed anything. I think I took it seriously enough. I had great coaches growing up.
Yeah.
My thing for these guys is
Find a home.
figure it out if you want to do it or not.
Right. Be
You know,
committed.
and I know
to it.
you're
love
young.
it.
You're young too, but it's 16 is like an age to where now it's time to
go
start
time.
thinking about what you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
granted, go play sports in the fall and everything, but when it's baseball season, if you're not fully committed, then maybe figure it out.
Right, and like we always tell people, it's very okay to just have fun playing the game. Very okay to go
100%.
play. Decide that you don't want to. We get this a lot
Yeah.
from our players. Hey, I'm gonna get these Division III offers, and these kids are still not fully educated on how ridiculously legit that is. And they're like, I'm not just gonna go to any regular D3 school and play just to play. I'll go to
Yeah.
Ohio State and party.
Right,
I'm like,
right,
hey,
right.
listen, to each his own. But you're right. I think that this is a time, and these kids got to continue to dive in and do their own research on how legit these schools are and how legit everything is. So, but again, the whole moral of this is obviously outside of just really cool stuff about being a pro guy.
And how many years
But-
did you play for B1?
Well, you were with the Heat too.
I was with the Heat.
So similar to Rye.
So yeah.
And then
I don't know.
I would
I
steal
don't know how many years it was. We played for you.
Yeah.
like,
At least
a
four.
year
Probably,
or two.
probably 4.
Wow, nice.
Probably like
Yeah.
13 to 17, 12 to
Four-year
16.
B1 guy, 5th rounder, AAA. It's pretty good.
Yeah, very cool. And again, committed to LIU. That's kind of what I'm about to get. The moral of the story, other than the cool stuff and all that, but these are this is a LIU commit with Division II offers, getting a 5th round out of high school.
That's
So,
hard to believe you didn't get any of the calls.
Man, I'm so sick of everybody.
You were lost in Maspeth. They couldn't
Yeah, I
even find
was.
you.
Well, that's
Jim
facts.
Corbin was lost on the
What was the
streets.
conversation?
facts.
Were you talking to your college coach throughout this whole process?
No.
No.
Nah, I mean, to be honest, like I didn't know the guy at all.
Because he's a new guy,
Just
right?
radio silence, like.
Right.
And
You eventually had to talk to him, right? You had right when you got drafted. You had what?
Yeah, like
2 or 3 days on your
I
own.
like talked to like my advisor on it, like how
you go about it,
Just
sure.
tell him like, listen, yo, like I got drafted and I'm gonna take it. Like I'm going in the draft.
Right.
If I get what I want, I'm gonna go. And
I'll
it
tell you
was
what.
fine.
By the way, that's like an underrated thing for that coach that gave you an offer to be able to say like, yo, I got this kid committed to me and what I'm doing, and he's a 5th round draft pick before he can even step on
That's pretty
campus.
good.
That's a pretty cool, like, you know, kind of feather in your hat if you're a coach. Like, yeah, I think I know what I'm doing here,
Yeah.
guys. So listen, bro, this is unbelievable.
This is a great episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many things I would love to continue talking
I know
about.
I can say
Round
all
2, you
about
got to
it,
come
but-
back.
Yeah, we'll have to
I'll
we'll
come
have to
back.
run it.
I'll come
Yeah.
back part 2.
Yeah, we'll run it back. But yeah, man, another episode in the books. I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys.
See you, brother.
Thanks.